All right, and then give it a thumbs up. So we'll call this meeting to order. Plymouth Town Council, it's a special meeting because we're starting at 6 here in the community room of Town Hall. It is September 2nd, 2025. Fires and notifications out the back. Take a left through the doors, take a right into the parking lot. If we could also please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic. Once again, thank you. May God bless the town of Plymouth, and may God bless the United States of America. Item 5, public comment. So on item 5 and 6, public comment. If you have questions on item 7, which is the state DOT project, we are going to do a special Q&A with the representatives from CONDOT directly following their presentation. So I would ask that we just hold questions on that project to that agenda item, item 7. So with that, is there any public comment on a non-agenda item? You'll have to come up to the front here. Yes, Melanie, come on up right to the microphone here. Sorry, our back's turned, but we had to get the presentation right. You can stand in front of the mic here and face the council if you'd like.
Melanie Church, 328 Main Street. I learned that we have a tractor sitting with the Board of Ed, who I believe 2 years ago got rid of outdoor maintenance. Now we've gotten rid of janitors and it's still sitting there. A brand new tractor, which we could use for Parks and Rec. You know, the idea is not these people keep things when they don't need them. They're paid for by the tax collector or by the taxpayers here in this town. Now, to me, that should be turned over, not wait for another 5 years. That is something that we could use and we need. We have a lot of areas in town where we are keeping up. Now, to keep that a secret for 2 years is deplorable. Now, another point I want to bring up to you. They turned around and they voted after the budget was done. And they got rid of janitors and gave themselves a raise. That is a slap in the face to every taxpayer. When you do a budget, this stuff should be presented, not voted on afterwards in an executive session. These are important issues that need to be taken up. That $600,000 that was taken for North Main Street Bridge was turned around 12 years ago. And then I find out other money had been taken out of it too. The charter is very clear. What is in the budget, that's what we use. Anything over that is a special appropriation. If it's over 100,000, it goes to referendum. We have no transparency and we have no rights anymore. We deserve those rights. Read your charter. Go to the finance and read it. And under finance, that's how we vote on it. Not just they take money and they blow it anywhere. You're forgetting us, the taxpayers. We're the ones that you're spending our money. And the same thing goes with the police extra duty fund. We are getting no revenue. In fact, we're in violation of the charter because we have a bunch of ordinances that we're supposed to be charging for. The only one we're doing
10
is
seconds,
what?
Melanie, you can wrap it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on non-agenda item? Okay, seeing none, public comment on an agenda item. Okay, seeing none, we'll go right on to item 7, State of Connecticut Department of Transportation, Route 6 Agnew Avenue presentation. Jared Hendrickson is here from CONDOT. Jared, if you'd like to come up, introduce your team and The floor is yours. Thank you for coming tonight. And if the council would like to go down and have a seat to watch this presentation, I would certainly encourage you to do that. Thank you. I'm not sure if that's gonna. Jamie, their presentation is not gonna be up there, right?
I am gonna put it here. It's
Okay.
really small though.
Okay, so it's up to you guys, what you wanna do. It is, but it's gonna be small. Your choice, whatever you guys wanna do. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'll go.
Would you want to see this? Yep.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the presentation on state project number 110-136.
Can't hear you.
Use the mic.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Testing, okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the presentation on state project number 110-136. Major intersection improvements on Route 6 at North Main Street and Aggie Avenue in the town of Plymouth, Connecticut. My name is Jared Hendrickson, and I work for the State Highway Design Unit for the Connecticut Department of Transportation. And with me tonight, I have Scott Bushy, Principal Engineer of the State Highway Design Unit. Julian Falk, Design Engineer from the State Highway Design Unit. Judy Nemechek, District Engineer from District 4 Construction. Joe Mancini, Assistant District Engineer. Jesse Menzies, Project Manager. And Sean Smith, Project Engineer. Additionally, Robert Atase will be the Chief Inspector on the project. First, I'd like to talk about the pre-construction condition out in the project currently. The current geometry of the intersection of North Main Street and Route 6 is undesirable, as it's very skewed intersection with a building limiting the sight distance right now, leading to a crash pattern. Additionally, you have two signals within a short duration of each other on South Main Street and Route 6 and North Main Street Route 6, which causes a lot of congestion and crashes as well. Additionally, there's a lack of left turn lanes on Route 6 onto Aggie Avenue, North Main Street, and South Main Street, which also leads to long congestion and queue lengths at peak hours. Additionally, Aggie Avenue is stop controlled, and at peak hours, it's tough for vehicles turning right or left out of the intersection to make the turning movement, which leads to safety concerns and crashes as well. This is a drone video showing the pre-construction condition right now. As you can see, there's a skewed nature of the intersection of North Main Street and Route 6. Additionally, there's the building limiting sight line. I'd like you to pay close attention to the left turning movement from Route 6 onto North Main Street. As you can see, until the cars move up to make a left turn, the white truck cannot make the through movement to continue along Route 6 because on-street parking is allowed. That leads to a lot of congestion, as you can see when the video goes up more, all the way back to Prospect Street at Route 6 during peak hours, which is undesirable. Next, I'll talk about crash history. Between January 1st, 2016 and December 31st, 2018, there were a total of 35 crashes with 11 total injuries reported. As you can see, North Main Street and Route 6 is a hot spot due to the skewed nature of the intersection and limited sight distances and lack of left turn lanes. Additionally, on Aggie Avenue, you can see another crash pattern here due to the lack of left turn lanes and no signal at this intersection. So the post-construction condition, this is a plan of what the project will look like once it's completed. As you can see, we're going to minimize the intersections to 2 instead of 3 within the downtown area. And the signal at South Main Street and Route 6 will be eliminated, as it will no longer be needed, as North Main Street will be realigned to form a traditional 4-way intersection with Route 6 and Aggie Avenue.
Also, the roadway will be widened to accommodate left turn lanes for access to the Woods Court neighborhood, South Main Street, North Main Street, and Aggie Avenue. With the widened roadway, this will allow for parallel on-street parking, the left turn lane, and an unobstructed through movement. Also, due to the decrease in signals from 2 to 1, as the new intersection of North Main Street and Acme Avenue and Route 6 will be signalized, will lead to less congestion and improve sightlines as the building that used to exist at the northwest corner of Old North Main Street and Route 6 has been demolished already. A little bit about the project history now. The initial public information meeting was held on October 22nd, 2019. Start of construction was May 30th, 2022. But in the fall of 2023, it was discovered that there was a survey topographic error used to develop the design, and there was an accuracy of up to 6 inches throughout the project limits. This caused some complications with the design, and therefore a full redesign of the project was initiated and required. The redesign started on March 24th, 2024, and change order plans were held over to District 4 Construction on June 4th, 2025. Where they currently talking with the contractor. Next, I'd like to talk about the construction limits. As part of the redesign, the project was expanded. Overall, the project was expanded on the western limit to include the intersection of Prospect Street and Route 6. This will allow for ADA pedestrian facilities to be installed and traffic equipment enhancements at this intersection. Additionally, on South Main Street, project limits were extended roughly 300 feet to the intersection of Aggie Avenue at the request of the town. Additionally, on Aggie Avenue, the project limits were extended 400 feet down to the intersection of South Main Street. Then all the way to the eastern project limits, we extended them past Baldwin Park and Route 6 so that we could accommodate an ADA pedestrian-friendly mid-block crosswalk and pedestrian facilities there as well.
Jared, just if you could pause right there. If anyone could just silence their cell phones, we'd certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And then additionally, full depth roadway reconstruction will be occurring throughout Route 6 on the project as it will lead to a more desirable pavement structure. Some additional enhancements that were taken into consideration as part of the redesign is ADA pedestrian facilities such as sidewalks and sidewalk ramps, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, decorative buffer treatments, decorative luminaires, streetscaping appurtenances, improved drainage systems, granite curbing, landscaping, and additional parking. Sidewalk buffer treatments throughout the project limits will consist of imprinted concrete sidewalk in the area shaded in red and grass buffers in the area that's green. Overall, we decided to go with imprinted concrete sidewalk because it's low maintenance and it's aesthetically pleasing and will attract people to the downtown area. Additionally, the picture on the left is of imprinted concrete sidewalk that was installed on a previous project. The color will be chosen by the town of Plymouth. And the pattern will match the pattern as close as possible to the streetscaping that exists to the east of the project limit so that it's continuous throughout the downtown area. We will be installing timber beam rail as a part of the project along Old North Main Street. This is going to be an aesthetically pleasing rail once again that will be very popular and will attract people to the downtown area and the new green space being formed in the area. We chose this to protect the slope in between off of Old North Main Street in between Route 6 and North Main Street because it's a low speed, low volume street, as Old North Main Street will be dead ended and only provide local access. Black metal handrail will be installed in 2 locations as part of the project. Due to the realignment of Old North Main Street, black metal handrail will be installed at the staircase leading to 11 North Main Street. Due to the steep grade of the yard, the staircase was justified in this area. Additionally, to make the pedestrian facility ADA compliant at the northwest corner of the intersection of Prospect Street and Route 6, black metal handrail will be installed in this area as well. Decorative fence, such as seen here in front of Terryville Library, will be installed throughout the project limits. There are 5 locations where the fence will be installed or reset. The fence will be reset at the northwest corner of Route 6 and Prospect Street, as it needs to be reset for sidewalk work to be completed. Additionally, the black metal handrail that is old and falling apart on top of the retaining wall on the north side of Route 6 will be replaced with a decorative fence as well. And decorative fence will be installed on the south side of Route 6, in between the back of sidewalk and the parking lot for 8 South Main Street, protect against the steep slope that will exist between the parking lot and the back of sidewalk. And black metal decorative fence will be used on top of the retaining walls to be installed on South Main Street and the driveway for Terryville Pizza. Next, we'll talk about some streetscaping appurtenances. Decorative luminaires, such as seen in the picture here, will be continued from the east of the project limits through the project limits, so that the streetscaping is continuous throughout the project limits. Overall, 25 decorative luminaires, as seen here in red, will be installed throughout the project limits along Route 6. Benches and trash receptacles will also be installed as part of the project. At the 6 locations approved by the town right here is where benches and trash receptacles will be installed. Some miscellaneous streetscaping elements such as the Town of Plymouth sign, Eli the Duck, and a historical information sign will be installed or installed in the future as part of the project. Overall, the Town of Plymouth historical information sign will be put at the Veterans Memorial Park. Eli the Duck will be the centerpiece of the project and the neighborhood, and will be installed at the northwest corner of the intersection of Route 6 and North Main Street. The town selected this area as it will be the focal point of the town green space that will be. Additionally, a forthcoming electronic Town of Plymouth information sign will be installed within the town green space as well. Granite curbing will be installed throughout the project limits. This is because the streetscaping project to the east of the project has granite curbing included within it. And we would like to make the streetscaping continuous through the whole entire downtown area. So granite curbing will be extended. Pedestrian crossing extensions will be installed at 3 locations. At the southwest corner of Prospect Street and Route 6. And at the northwest and northeast corner of the intersection of Route 6 at North Main Street. As you can see in the blow-up detail below, these will include low-level plantings and an imprinted concrete, and will consist of an imprinted concrete sidewalk area. This is a space that pedestrians will use to talk to each other as they encounter each other on the path, or be used as extra storage space for pedestrians looking across the intersection. This is a rendering of what downtown will look like after the project is finished. This is North Main Street at Route 6. Please notice the 2 pedestrian extension areas, one at the northeast west corner and one at the northeast corner with a bench. Also, Eli the Duck will be installed at the edge of the pedestrian extension area as well. Parking layout. Existing, there's 75 spaces out within the project limits right now. And as part of the project, we'll be adding 8 parking spaces within the project limits for a total of 83. Additionally, a handicap space along South Main Street will be provided as well, with 88 pedestrian access to the sidewalk running along South Main Street. Additionally, with the coordination with the town and local town representatives, South Main Street was completely redesigned as part of the project. Overall, the town came to the state with an issue of wrong way entries on South Main Street and asked us to see if we could develop alternatives for how to fix the problem. Overall, we decided that extending the one-way nature of South Main Street from the northern entrance of 8 South Main Street down to the intersection of Aggie Avenue and South Main Street was a good fit for how to prevent crashes and for how to prevent wrong-way entries on South Main Street. Additionally, we were able to accommodate an island deterring wrong-way travel at the intersection of South Main Street and Acme Avenue, where the northbound through movement would typically exist. In this island, it will be a raised island with granite curving around it. And will have low-level plantings and a flashing "Do not enter solar powered" sign. Additionally, due to the redesign of this area, ADA pedestrian facilities along both sides of the roadways have been accommodated, along with 18 parking spots, which is an increase from the 9 that exist out there today. And the 1 handicap spot I mentioned earlier. Also, the 70-foot loading zone will be maintained as well for local businesses to get deliveries. Street trees will also be put in as a part of the project. These are aesthetically pleasing and once again create a good downtown environment and atmosphere. Overall, 28 street trees will be installed as a part of the project. The ones boxed out in red will be installed in a printed concrete sidewalk, and the ones in green will be installed in grass buffer areas. These are the types of trees that will be installed as street trees. Please note that these are special underwire trees that will not grow into the overhead utility wires above. The street trees will be cast in a flexi pave rather than your standard metal tree pit that you would usually see out in the field. There's several advantages to using flexi pave, such as you can choose the color of the flexi pave so it matches the urban nature of the project or what the town council wants to use for a color for the area. Additionally, the tree pit, the flexi pave allows for the tree to grow to a diameter without restricting it. And also water will infiltrate through the flexi pave as well as it is a pervious solution. Seen here on the right is an application that we've used in the field and installed a flexi pave. Rectangular rapid flashing beacons will be installed at 2 mid-block crossings along Route 6. These will be solar powered, which has several advantages, such as no electrical service charges to the town of Plymouth, and will avoid potential underground utility conflicts that exist when having to trench for conduit to provide electrical services for these. And no issues with shading are anticipated due to street trees, existing trees, or buildings. The 2 locations for the RRFPs are to the east of Baldwin Park Lane at the mid-block crosswalk, and to the west of South Main Street at Route 6 at the mid-block crosswalk. Next, I'd like to get into the construction staging. Construction is anticipated to start on October 13th, 2025. The 2025 work area consists of all the drainage along Route 6. This work will be done using alternating one-way traffic. During the 2026 construction season, we anticipate that Route 6 and Prospect Street will be reconstructed up to the intersection of South Main Street and Route 6. Also, Old North Main Street, and Agnew Avenue will also be reconstructed during this construction season. Alternating one-way traffic will be used for all construction activities during the 2026 work season. During the 2027 construction season, the rest of Route 6 will be reconstructed using alternating one-way traffic. Additionally, the Veterans Memorial Park and green space in between Old North Main Street and North Main Street will be constructed and finalized as well. Additionally, South Main Street will be reconstructed using a detour and a road closure of South Main Street. As you can see, this is the detour plan for South Main Street. The work area is shown in yellow, as South Main Street will be shut off at the intersection of South Main Street and Route 6 and Agnew Avenue and South Main Street. And the detour route will be going down Agnew Avenue until you reach South Main Street to continue southward on South Main Street. So some work that's been completed, we had a hydrodynamic separator cleaning on Agnew Avenue to address drainage problems. Also, utility relocations overhead and underground are ongoing and anticipated to be finished by the end of November 2025. Currently, rights-of-way acquisitions are ongoing as well and are anticipated to be completed by April 1st, 2026. Currently, the change order is being implemented by District 4 Construction, and the anticipated start of construction is October 13th, 2025. The expected end of construction is November 27th, 2027. Does anybody have any questions?
Just your name and address.
Janet Engels, Night Lane. I just have a question on park going down between Pizza Place and Walgreens. Does that actually have an opening into that plaza anymore? Or is it all blocked off?
Pizza place in Walgreens.
Yeah, South Main.
South Main. Yeah, there'll be two entrances to 8 South Main Street there currently, after construction.
Okay, because it looked like it was going all the way down to Agnew Avenue.
Yeah, the construction will be, but the business access will not change after construction in that area.
Anybody else? Okay. I am Jim Klineski from South Main Street, I'm sorry, Beach Avenue. The question is about, the east-west section of Agnew Avenue, which runs parallel to or alongside of the cemetery. Is the town certain that we actually own that piece of property, that we actually own that road? I think there was some question about it never being turned over from the Eagle Company when they closed.
I've never heard that before, but.
Well, I heard it from our town historian, or previous town historian. So I just thought I'd ask and see if you do have any information on that.
I've never heard that, but we'll double check. Thank you.
We should.
Yeah.
Okay. The other question I have, was there every consideration given to speed bumps on Route 6?
No, those were not looked at.
I know when you're done, Jim, I know there's a question in the back.
What, okay, good. One more. And the area where the building was knocked down, is that going to be park area? Is that part of your plan, the town's, the state's plan, or is that the town's plan, or what's happening with that property where the dirt is all mounded up now?
That's currently being used as a part of construction right now, owned by the state. After the project's over, it's gotta be evaluated by our rights of way unit, see if it's a conforming lot, I believe. And then at that point, it will go up for, I believe, an auction.
I see.
And the town will have the first right of refusal on any offer that's put in on the property.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
Thank you. Anne Marie Rowe, I live at 125 North Main Street, so I have a very vested interest in this project. I have a question and a request. My first question is, right now the buses come out of Eli Terry School and they have a smooth curve coming out onto Route 6. How are you accommodating those buses that are going to come down that short bypass now and make that 90-degree turn out into traffic onto Route 6?
Where are you?
Most of those buses are taking a right-hand turn out of North Main Street when they come out of the school. They take a right-hand turn because they head towards Plymouth. So they're gonna go west on Route 6. Right now, they're coming out, they're making that smooth curve out of North Main onto Route 6 going west.
Okay.
They're gonna now come down that short little cut into Baldwin Park, and then they're gonna take a 90-degree angle turn onto Route 6. How are you accommodating that right-hand turn for that big turn radius of the buses not to go into the eastbound lane?
Yeah, that's all been checked, and they will not go into the through lane for Route 6 eastbound.
How will that be if you've only got a one-lane road? Will it only be one lane right there where they're turning out onto Route 6? Or will they have a turning lane?
No, not coming from North Main Street onto Route 6. There won't be a right turn lane, but the radius of the curve is large enough to accommodate school buses not over tracking into the eastbound lane.
Okay, then I have a request. I walk around Baldwin Park on a daily basis and down North Main Street. The way that the state left the construction, you did a temporary sidewalk up Route 6 to the monument, and then you left the sidewalk unfinished from that point at the monument up to the corner of Route 6 at North Main Street. You didn't put a sidewalk in, so now if you want to continue walking up Route 6, you have to walk through the weeds. Then to cross North Main Street, you have two choices. You can walk across North Main Street, step up onto about an 18-inch jump up to get back onto the sidewalk. Or take a jaunt into traffic on Route 6 to get back around onto the sidewalk. I would like to request that this fall, before you guys leave this for the winter, please continue that temporary sidewalk up to the corner of North Main and Main Street and create the entrance up back onto the sidewalk when you cross North Main to continue up Route 6. I would very much appreciate that because otherwise you have to cross the street and come back to the other side and there's no crosswalk. Thank you. Anybody else?
Melanie Church, 328 Main Street. Melanie Church, 328 Main Street. I have two questions on this. One is, as you go up, you're talking about the congestion. Come up to right where all our businesses are, where the plaza is, where Terryville Chevrolet is, where McDonald's is, where there's a package store. I live the next house up from the package store. Sometimes it takes me 3 lights to get up. I can't even turn right and go. Because you have cars coming out of, Harrington Avenue, right into the traffic. What's gonna happen when that's all freed up? Below, you're gonna have more of a congestion at that stop. And that has 5 stops. You have the east and west on Main Street. Then separately you run it for the plaza. Separately you run it for Harrington Avenue and separately for McDonald's. So you already have a congestion there. That was over 30 years ago. They were supposed to widen that road. When you have the trucks coming down to go to Terryville Chevrolet, traffic gets backed up the other way. This is all very poor planning. Another thing, when you come down Prospect Street and you drive down that hill, your car bottoms out if you're low to the ground because it just like dips and then you're on Main Street. And that's been a problem for years. And those are the things that need to be corrected. Yeah, you're gonna free up traffic down there, but they're gonna get backlogged right where the IGA is and all that. You look at the amount of cars that go through there now. And if you put a count, I guarantee you it's high. And that nothing's being done there. You can't keep burying parts of it. And part of this, I understand the problem. Like Anne Marie mentioned the 18 inches. That wasn't done by the construction company. You know, how much more are you sure that this time you have the elevations correct for Main Street? Anybody else?
Brady Picard, 140 Old Waterbury Road. Just had a question. When it's all said and done, obviously this is a state project. Who's gonna maintain all what you're showing in the slides, you know, who's gonna maintain the property and the greenscapes and all that? And the other question is one of the slides showed a wooden railing. How long will that wooden railing last? Because I'm from Massachusetts originally, a lot of that wooden railing out there doesn't last all that long and it gets, it breaks apart. Is this built to last? Is it a different type of wood, composite that you're using where it'll last a lot longer? Where it doesn't have to be changed out down the road? Those are my two questions.
So to answer your first question, everything seen in the picture here has been approved to be maintained by the town as they've signed the project authorization letter, accepting maintenance responsibilities for all the greenery, imprinted concrete sidewalk, metal handrail, decorative fencing, benches, all the streetscaping discussed. And to answer your second question, this is CT Deep designed timber beam rail, so it's been used by CT Deep in our parks. And I'm not sure what the longevity of the wood is.
Ray Engel, 6 Night Lane. Previously, you were showing where South Street came out on Route 6, and it's just a point of clarification. The ADA sidewalk, were you saying that's crossing there, or is it further up or further down? The only reason I'm asking you, there's no light that's going to be there, if I heard you correctly. With no light, you're gonna have the flashers there. Are you sure you want to put a crosswalk right there? That's the only question I've had.
Yeah, that's an area that we felt would be a good area, as the town plans on developing South Main Street at 8 South Main Street. So it'd be a great area to put a mid-block crosswalk, so pedestrians on the north side of the road can cross right into what the town is gonna turn into a heavy pedestrian use area, I would call it. And due to South Main Street's one-way nature, seems like a safer area to cross, as well as you won't have two movements to deal with. You only have one movement to deal with.
My name is Benny Clemens of 5 Coral Drive. I just want to thank the DOT professionals and all the hard work you've been working on this and working with the CIF committee and part of the comprehensive planning and improvement of Main Street. There's a lot of hard work, there's been a lot of meetings, there's been a lot of discussions. And I also just want to say thank you for coming and doing all the work that you've done today, and the CIF committee and the council for the communication backwards and forwards over the last several years on this project, which is part of the comprehensive development, redevelopment, and transformation of Main Street of Terryville. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Connie Cabela's South Eagle Street, Terryville. Will there be any accommodation for the light that is adjacent to the ambulance garage? At one time when that was built, we were gonna have a signal that we could push as we were exiting to Route 6. Will that be any accommodation to the light there so that the ambulance people can get out a little more easily?
I am not sure about that. I believe preemption will be a part of the project. I'll have to go back and look at that. But I believe it has been put in as a part of the project for ambulances turning left, going through the signal.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
you, Jared. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, council, of course. Okay, go ahead, Joe, you have your phone.
Question,
Can't hear you.
I got two questions. Mr. Picard brought up a point about maintenance on Main Street. There's trash receptacles. Is Public Works actually gonna empty those trash receptacles?
Parks and Recs doesn't.
Okay, and then secondly, you had stamped concrete for the streetscape as opposed to we now have brick. Is there a reason why either one was selected? Because personally, when I drive down Main Street, I see brick and there's weeds all growing up through that. area. So I prefer that. And I think at some point I would like to see that area cleaned up, maybe doing stamped concrete, we could all the way down through. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. That's why we want the stamped concrete, is the maintenance. Yep. Anyone else from the council? No? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. Thank you, Jared.
And it's working.
Just hang tight as we clean up here for a minute.
Yeah, leave the podium there. I'm gonna use that anyway. What's up?
We had a council member need to take a quick break, so once he gets back, we'll keep going.
Okay. Makes you appreciate Sure. Yeah, it's fine. I'm just gonna put it there for. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a quick thing. Oh, that's all right, yeah.
So we have a special guest here at the town council tonight. Miss Madison, if you can join me up here. Certainly anyone from your family can come up too. I'm asking for it. So Miss Madison here decided that she was gonna do a lemonade stand to raise money for Small Wonders this year. And, Ms. Madison raised over $1,000 for Small Wonders in Vermont. And I wanted to honor her with this certificate of appreciation. Whereas the town of Plymouth would like to recognize Madison as a valuable asset to our community, who gave her time and support in raising $1,120 from her lemonade stand for the Small Wonders program. And whereas the town of Plymouth values its youth and recognizes Madison as a true example for young people who are seeking to prepare themselves to become better citizens and leaders for tomorrow by developing those traits of character today. And whereas the town of Plymouth encourages all of its youth to mirror Madison's good deeds, dedication, and outstanding performance. Now therefore, I deem it an honor and a pleasure to extend this certificate of appreciation to Madison, calling upon the citizens of this community to join me in recognizing her valuable kindness and contribution. In witness thereof, I, Joseph T. Kilduff, Mayor of Plymouth, do hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the town of Plymouth to be affixed the second day of September 2025. Congratulations, Madison. And Karen.
Yeah, please come on up. We'll pass a little bit. The way here. No. I can think of a picture. Hold the picture.
Wait, stand up over there, go.
You want that up?
Okay, go stand next to it.
It's a family care, not involved, right?
Yeah, right here.
Perfect, perfect, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Carry that.
Thank you, everybody, for that. I think hopefully we made Madison tonight there. I want to congratulate the Terryville Lions for another great fair. Their 77th annual Terryville's biggest event of the year. And I think the fair just keeps getting better. I want to thank all the volunteers. I know that the Lions Club couldn't put it on without many volunteers coming up and helping throughout the weekend. We had great weather, I think great turnout. I know the numbers are still coming in, but I really just want to appreciate everything the volunteers did and the Lions Club did because they're one of the main organizations in this community and most of what they bring in, they put right back into the community. So kudos to the Terryville Lions for another great fair. Item 9, discuss and take action to refund overpayment of property taxes to the following. We're not going to read off all the names here, but I would accept that motion. Motion by Joe, second by Ron. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Resignations, appointments, to accept the resignation of Horace Wilcox from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Motion by Joe. Second by TJ, and I just want to say he's a very long-serving member of that board, and it's unfortunate that we're losing him. So thanks to Horace, or as we all affectionately know him as Chip. Do we have a motion and a second? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. To appoint Sarah Sanshaw to the Human Services Commission as a regular member with a term ending date of 10/1/27. Motion by Joe, second by Ron. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. To appoint Morgan Hoadley to the Human Services Commission as a regular member with a term ending date of 4/1/27. Motion by TJ, second by Joe. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Item 11, we come to the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments proposal for Plymouth Plan of Conservation and Development and Plymouth Affordable Housing Plan, both state mandated plans that we must complete. And we have Savannah here from the Naugatuck Valley COG, who is here to talk to us about these two proposals. Savannah?
Do we have to bring that one back, or do you have a? Give her a microphone.
Yeah, I'll have to.
You can have one. Gotcha, right there. You can have it.
So actually presentations for the audience.
Yeah, if people want one, that's fine.
Does anyone want
We
a
have
copy
a
of the presentation? Yeah, okay. Just raise your hands. Yeah. Sorry. Anyone else got one of their copy? Who's that one?
You can go.
Can everybody hear me okay? I'm gonna try to turn this way too. I'm sorry that my back is turned a little bit to you guys, so please bear with me as we go through the presentation. Thank you, Mayor Kilduff. As the mayor mentioned, my name is Savannah Nicole Bielba. I go by SN, and I'm the community planning director at the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments. I appreciate the council and residents of the town being available to discuss the two planning proposals and the COG has prepared for the town of Plymouth. I also will walk you through the slides, so we're gonna head to the next slide now. By the end of tonight's discussion, you should have a better understanding of who we are as the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, what is a plan of conservation and development and an affordable housing plan, and what are the benefits of doing these planning processes together. There will be dedicated time at the end of the presentation for questions, but I we'll take any questions from the council as going through the presentation if you want to stop me as we're going through. Next slide, please. Perfect. So the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, also known as NVCOG, is a voluntary association of 19 municipalities. We're a state designated regional planning organization and a federally designated metropolitan planning organization, which is just a fancy way of saying we support our members on transportation, environment, housing, and land use planning and implementation efforts. Our board consists of the 19 chief elected officials of the region that's shown on the right of the slide. Mayor Kilduff is your representative on our board. I'd like to take a moment to clarify who we serve by talking about the ways in which we differ from a municipality. You all as residents, property owners, or business owners, you're Plymouth's constituent, and you as the town council work really closely with your residents, your property owners, your business owners to make decisions about the policies to implement, how to spend money, and the decisions on how to govern the community. As a council of governments, the town of Plymouth is our constituent. So we work with your mayor when making decisions about what policies, plans, or programs to conduct at the regional level. And while our work does have direct effects on you as residents, property owners, and businesses, our governing structure has Mayor Kilduff as your representative to our organization. This relationship looks slightly different when we work on efforts such as the efforts we're here to talk about with you today. We keep the mayor in the loop about projects, but generally we work with a lead commission and a staff liaison to assist us with the administrative aspects of these sorts of planning processes. Next slide, please. Perfect. So before we begin, who has previously worked on a plan of conservation or in development, also known as a POCD? Anyone? Anyone? Hey! Alrighty. So this will be a brief refresher for you and an overview for everyone else. We'll start with the legal reasons. The mayor kind of gave you an idea. You legally are required to. That's the biggest one. CGS section 8-23 requires every community's planning commission to adopt or amend their plan of conservation and development every 10 years. So in the town of Plymouth, that would be your planning and zoning commission, which did this process in 2015. If a community does not amend or adopt your plan of conservation and development, you become ineligible for a variety of discretionary funding sources, unless you receive a waiver from the Office of Policy and Management. Mayor Kilduff, NBCOG, and the Office of Policy and Management have been talks about your POCD and its due date. I just want to stress that many municipalities have their due date sneak up on them. Plymouth is not unique in that regard. OPM is aware that Plymouth is preparing to work on its POCD. And I looked on OPM's website today. There are 17 other communities that are in the same boat as you. I just want to stress that it's common to be here. And NBCOG doesn't currently anticipate that your due date will prevent you from being able to secure a funding waiver should the town decide to apply for discretionary funding. However, it is really important that you begin this process as soon as practicable. Next slide, please. Okay, so a lapsed POCD does not mean that you should rush your process. Your plan of conservation and development is an important policy document that is intended to guide future development and conservation policies for the next 10 years. It's valuable to take the necessary time to plan for Plymouth's next decade and creating something that town leaders will use to implement the goals that you set for the town. I believe that a POCD is one of the most wide-ranging policy documents that a municipality can create, because in this plan, you work as a community to better understand how to enhance Plymouth's strengths, capitalize on potential current and future opportunities, mitigate current challenges, and prepare for future challenges around development and conservation, because you want to stay an attractive community where people enjoy living, working, and playing within. Next slide, please. So we're on what is a plan of conservation and development POCD slide with the 2 boxes. As you work on a POCD, main themes will arise around specific conservation and development goals. Just to give an example, NBCOG wrote Thomason's plan of conservation and development, and through the process, infrastructure improvements and economic development were key goals that came through the planning efforts of the town. And in thinking about each, the steering committee created a variety of recommended action items that town leaders will need to accomplish to achieve the infrastructure and economic development goals. These action items or strategies often take one of 2 flavors. I'm just going to give you a brief example of each. So the first, which is shown on the top, is where a strategy and a plan sets in motion a process where a town enacts regulatory change that either achieves or makes movement towards that broader goal. So again, just to provide an example of your sister town in Thomaston, we helped them draft a variety of strategies about the types of businesses they wanted to see updated in their zoning regulations in their specific commercial zones. So we had public meetings and we worked through that process and heard what the community wanted to see as additional uses. We talked to their planning and zoning commission, and through that, we made these strategies that said, hey, these are the 5 uses that you really should adopt in your zoning regulations. They have that as a clear strategy now. So that's one way that strategies can lead to implementation. The second way, shown on the bottom, is where a strategy and a plan sets in motion a process where the town seeks to fund the strategy to achieve or move towards a goal. So to provide another example, Thomaston was pretty clear and in agreement that their water pollution control facility needed to be upgraded. And so by setting strategies around that necessary infrastructure improvement in their plan, it helps their water pollution control facility, it helps their legislative body, it helps their board of finance have a rationale when it comes to budget season and the community's asking, why is this item here? You can then reference your plan of conservation and development and say, we plan to do this 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now. So everyone has an idea about when you're trying to phase and fund these larger projects that have to get done to keep the community vibrant and sharing. And another piece on that is that articulation of a funding need can help a community secure funds from the state and sometimes federal partners Because they often in their applications ask you, where is this referenced in your plan of conservation or development? Where is this referenced in town policies that show that this is an idea that you all have ratified and that you want to see happen? So getting these sorts of projects of all scales into your plan only help you secure funding at later points. All of this is intended just to be illustrative of what an actionable plan can do. The right facilitator can take your plan from an existing conditions report to a forward-thinking visioning tool that helps support your work as town leaders and helps you as community members set what you want this to be like in 10 years. So we'll go to the next slide and we'll talk about affordable housing planning. I'm going to ask the same question because previously worked on an affordable housing plan. Yeah, so we get two. We've got another one. So again, a little bit of an overview for you guys. But we'll start again with the legal reasons. They're required to do it by law. Like your PUCD, you have to do it at a set interval. Unlike your PUCD, which is every 10 years, your affordable housing plans are every 5 years. Your legislative body or your planning and zoning commission can adopt or amend your affordable housing plan. And I apologize, but I'm not sure who adopted your plan. I know that it happened in 2023. But unlike a PUCD, if you don't do your affordable housing plan, it doesn't affect you in terms of discretionary funding. However, I can say I was previously the town planner in Pekin Falls, and if your plan doesn't meet Ulster, we got slapped pretty hard by the court with an 830G, where that was one of the things that they called us out on, saying, hey, you haven't done your affordable housing plan, you're not proactively considering housing, and it didn't help us out when push came to shove. Next slide, please. With that in mind, we encourage communities to see their affordable housing plans as a proactive and empowering planning tool that allows the town to define your needs and your goals for housing. Once you know your goals and your needs, we can work to balance your opportunities and your constraints. There are legitimate constraints to building affordable housing, whether they be geographic, whether they be infrastructure constraints, whether they be market constraints. We look at all those things through these planning processes in connection to your need. So looking at specific household types, understanding where your income sits, looking at what you currently have for a housing stock and what you hope to see added to your housing stock. So a collaborative and thoughtful planning process can help your planning and zoning commission make decisions that they are sure are representative of your town goals. That's another big thing for affordable housing plans. Next slide, please. So I wouldn't be here today if I didn't believe in MDCAR's planning process. We are currently in the process of adopting Tom's Plan of Conservation and Development. We also wrote Oxford's Affordable Housing Plan, and we're in that same adoption process there. So Plymouth has a unique opportunity to work with MDCOG on both plans because we have refined these processes in the communities that we just worked with. We know the questions to ask, we know how to tap into your infrastructure and your systems so that we can ensure that the benefits of planning is actualized in the town of Plymouth. So some of the benefits I just want to briefly cover today that we could go over are, it's cost effective to work with one facilitator on both plans. And working with MVCOG can ensure that we work with the town, that the budget makes sense for how you've budgeted for these planning efforts. It can reduce Plymouth town staff burden from facilitating these planning processes. Creating these plans is a lot of work. It's a full-time job, and that's what some staff at MVCOG work on. And so while we do work closely with the committee and likely a representative from your staff, it's a lot easier to reduce staff time when we're with them once or twice a month, instead of them having to do this in addition to every commissioner staff enforcement action that they're working on. It makes you know that there's someone who is thinking about your plan 24/7. I'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I have a little note before I write down things I'm thinking about. So know that we really do mean that. Another benefit is that we create synergy between the two planning documents so that they tell your story together without being duplicative. Sometimes that's the hard part when you do them separately, is you end up telling the same story twice. We don't want to do that. We want two documents that make sense together, that the town is proud to share and proud to implement. And additionally, by aligning the timelines, it makes it so that every other affordable housing plan requirement will fall when conservation and development is due. So you can clump them together at one point every time. Instead of having to do 3 separate planning efforts, you do 2. You do your PUCD and your affordable housing plan together, and you do your affordable housing plan 5 years out. And then we also believe that working on both at the same time will encourage residents to be engaged and activated in both efforts. We see people come to PUCD efforts or affordable housing plan efforts and they get energized because you're thinking about what you love about your community. You're honestly talking about things that you wish would change or that you're afraid of happening, and we can talk through all those things. But the energy is one meeting or it's a 6-month period. And so to work on them together, we can really get everyone's feedback in a way where you're part of a prolonged process. And we get to know each other. It's been really wonderful to be at your town council meeting today, and the friendliness of the crowd. It's clear that you're a close community. And so I like doing these plans. I like being in these processes where I get to know you as well. So we like that part. And then this is where I get a little bit cheesy about the work. I promise it's the only cheesy thing I'll say. But I really think when these plans are done right, they can empower community and create a sense of pride as residents, as town leaders and businesses, because you have a common understanding of the goals of the town for the next 10 years. They really are beautiful efforts that you can be proud of. And that's really what we seek in our planning processes. We want something that you know what's going on about, you all know what's going on about, and you're coming together. We're here to help you facilitate that process. Next slide, please. With that, I'll open the door for questions. But should the town decide to work with MBCOG, we'll work closely with the mayor until the leading commissions and staff liaisons are met. I just want to thank you all for your time today.
Thank you, Savannah. And just because I know that the question will come up, in last year's budget, there was 45,000 put aside for our EOCD. There was nothing included in this year's budget, but we do have 45,000 set aside. And the Naugatuck Valley COG has agreed that if we contract with them to do this work for us, they would bill 45 for this fiscal year and then the remaining the next fiscal year. So we wouldn't be expending any additional this year. With that, I'd open up to the council for questions. Any questions?
What was the actual date that he said due?
So you,
Can't hear you.
The POCD is this year.
Actual due date.
So the POCD is this year. And the affordable housing, I believe, is 2028.
Okay.
So if you do them together, I'm assuming the POCD will be done first and then the affordable housing will be done second.
yeah, we'll work with the mayor and the town so that we will send OPM a letter of when we think that the scope will be done. And that's kind of what the state's looking for right now is the town has agreed to work with MDCOG. We anticipate having adoption by this date and the state gets off their back once you're able to. I know it's kind of rough, but they're happier at that point. I can also say that's what happened in Thomaston, where they kind of came to us a little later in the process. As long as the town and then MDCOG stays communicative with the state, we haven't seen it cause any issues should you seek a waiver for discretionary funding. They're really mad at the ones who aren't doing anything. Those are the ones who don't get the waivers.
And just kind of a backstory on this, we did have staff attempt to draft, an amendment to our POCD. And we do have it, and we can certainly, and I believe you were all emailed that, actually, Tony, I don't think you were on the council yet, but emailed that, but I just felt that it doesn't, I don't know that that'll be viewed as a complete plan, and that concerned me. And so I approached the Naugatuck Valley COG because I had seen what they had done for Thomaston, and here we are bringing this proposal to you. So we've worked really closely with Savannah to put this together. I tend to think that doing them concurrently makes sense so that we don't have to worry about either one of them for a significant amount of time. But again, that's just our proposal. I believe you have a couple of proposals in your packet. one for the P O C D and one for, actually, you have two different options for the P O C D. And then one for the affordable housing. Savannah, you want to just kind of go over the difference between option A and B?
Sure. So you will see the affordable housing plan, there's only one option there. That's a process that's the way that one goes. We really don't recommend removal of anything in that process. So we're talking about the P O C D options. You have an A and a B. In option A, it does not include the youth summit, which is a process that we did in Thomaston, where we had a 2-day event with the juniors and seniors. Their local boards and commissions came, their state reps came, some state agencies came. It's kind of a larger ticket item. You can see it on option B, how much it costs. We understand that it's not fiscally possible for every community, and so that's removed from option A. And option A also is removed as the community kickoff and community celebration. That's not to say that stakeholder engagement isn't part of the planning process. We do a stakeholder survey, we'll do a community survey, and there's a line item for targeted community engagement. So that is working through these processes, we can go to the Lions Club should we be asked. We can find these targeted ways still to involve people in the planning process. And I'll just also note for the public as well, that there's still an item and the commission can see it as C1 committee planning. We run a process that always involves residents in the planning meetings. And so in Thomaston, we had a specific meeting process where we had an activity meeting and a strategy meeting. I think that was a little bit too much to ask a steering committee to do, so I've got ways I would reorganize it, but every single element of your plan, we have activities that we invite the public to put out into the mayor, 35 flyers and businesses in Thomaston. We would do something similar for Plymouth to say, hey, we're talking about housing today, or hey, we're talking about economic development goals. Come to this meeting, come back to this room, do some activities with us so that we can understand your committee and your community's desires around that principle.
So it's fair to say that these are not plans that you're gonna draft in a dark room and then hand it to us and say, here you go. That's not this process whatsoever.
No, I like to be, you'll notice me in town hall and you'll be like, hey, there she is. And so we really do like to implant ourselves in the communities when we're working on these efforts. That's what it's about for us. It's a academic, intellectual, and a heart exercise for our staff. So that's really the difference between option A and option B. Is A and does not include the summit, B does.
I see a lot of input from the youth in Thomaston.
Yeah, it was we actually received an award. We were nominated as we were awarded. We were the Thomaston Education Partners of the Year for the work that we did in the planning process. And we also got a citation from their state reps for that effort. What we ended up doing was it was a 2-day process, and it really does require your Board of Education to buy in as well. But Thomaston's did, and so we did 2 days. But the goal was learning about governance and working on the plan. And so we worked with their civics teacher to break up 60 students into 5 groups that were around the main principles of the Thomaston's plan. And the students learned about that concept from a planning perspective. So I'm the housing planner, I led the housing group. So I talked with the Thomaston students about the current housing conditions and the ways we talk about housing from a planning perspective. When students picked different topic areas they wanted to focus in on. So my group wanted to focus in on housing for young adults, shelters, and affordable housing. The students then worked with our staff and we drafted strategies that they got up on day 2 and presented together. It was a really empowering opportunity for them as well as for us to see all they had to say, all they had to contribute. And if you look at Thomaston's plan, there's a badge icon that's with all of the strategies that were either created by the students or were said a little less eloquently that had the same intention that the steering committee created. And so we think it just shows them that they're part of the process. And I think it also doesn't help from a parent perspective when you can say many generations of our town believe in this implementation goal. But we understand it as, we get that. And we did, so with that targeted youth engagement, we did the youth summit, but we also did youth surveys. So we surveyed the 7th and 8th graders and then the high schoolers in Thompson. We still think pending your Board of Education cooperation and desire to do that with us, that we could do the survey piece. We just can't do that more in-depth 2-day process. That's done in option A. That's represented in option B.
Any other questions from the council? Sure, go for it.
Now, I have a few questions. First one is this something that's being done in every community throughout the state, that it's a required by statute?
Yes,
Having, doing both parts that you're talking about with the housing and with the, what was the other piece, the
Planning conservation.
planning conservation?
yes, so they're both required under separate sections of the statute. Your plan of conservation and development is required under 8-23. Your affordable housing plan is required under 8-30J. And so they don't have to be done together, but the state law allows you to do them together, which is the financial benefit of one's 10 years, one's 5. So you do 2 procurement processes instead of 3.
Okay, so it is required by the state for every community to do this?
Yes.
And what's the annual cost of this to the town?
This plan,
Yeah, what we're looking at.
you have the,
Well,
Yeah.
there's a few, you said
So-
something about $45,000
Yes.
that's set aside.
so yes, in the capitals, for our P O C D plan. In last year's budget, there was 45,000 in there. For option B, just the P O C D's 89,100. Option A, 78,900, and the affordable housing was $26,110.
Is that per year or is that?
Just for the
Okay,
total.
so that 45 covers half of this?
Yes, which would start now, but the process is gonna be a multi-year process anyway.
It takes us about 1.5 years to work on these because we're in your community, they take a while to do.
So once this is done, say we meet the goal of the requirements of meeting the 10-year or 5-year. Is that something that in 5 or 10 years, you'll come back to us and you'll do another plan and?
If you love it and have us.
So it's but I mean, it's state mandated that this will be something that we will be required to do every 5 to 10 years.
Yes,
At a cost of whatever to the community.
yes, and you could go out to a consultant
Yeah.
outside of MBCOG. We think the benefit of working with us is it really speaks to our as an organization. And the more of our staff understand the town, it helps us when we're seeing environmental grants and we're seeing transportation grants. The towns that work this closely with us, our staff, we learn your streets better, we learn your parks better, we really understand your infrastructure and your goals. And we don't go anywhere. So just to provide an example, we wrote Oxford's affordable housing plan. We now are in conversations with the Planning and Zoning Commission about zoning strategies to increase housing options. We wrote the plan, so when we're having those additional conversations, they're not coming to us, asking us, hey, could you read this plan? Could you come up with some strategies? We've been with them for the last year. We understand what they're looking for. As your COG, that part is part of what we do. So you get better service when we understand your community in that deeper way.
Are the requirements similar for each community? I mean, as far as say us and Thomaston
Yeah.
or us and say Waterbury?
Yeah, so statutorily, yes, they are, but that's where having a skilled facilitator of the process is important. Because we could read the statute and there are people who read it and think that it means the same thing for Plymouth as it does for Waterbury, as it means for Thomaston. I'm an AICP certified planner. I went to graduate school to do this. So when I read the statute, I know how to look through the nuances so that you feel like this plan is Plymouth. If you feel like this plan is Waterbury's or Thomaston's, I did my job wrong. And so we do have certain elements we have to talk about, but we do it in a way that your community feels ownership over them.
Just a note, I mean, I don't want to become Waterbury, that's my whole thing. Unfortunately, as I see the writing on the wall with all the regionalization of things, sometimes small towns they get lost in the shuffle and we become a region rather than small towns, so.
And this plan, I just want to make it clear when MBCOG is being consulted with in this way, I'm working on Plymouth's plan. I'm not working on Plymouth's plan as part of the region. I'm thinking about that, which is a beneficial thing because I'm looking for synergies and cost efficiencies or ways in which you can work with your sister towns. But I'm working as an extension of Plymouth, just like when we worked on Thomaston's, we work as an extension of Thomaston. We get to bring all of the resources MBCOG has, so our GIS resources, our communications resources. We've got experts in, like I keep saying, in transportation and environment and these other areas that really lead to a robust planning process. But we represent you. Same thing when we did Oxford's. We talked about what Oxford did for housing, not necessarily what would have been a regional perspective on that. So these plans are, I don't want to say there's a firewall because that's not how it is, but we are working for you and that relationship is understood at our level.
How many staff members do you guys usually have working on a project like this?
Sure, so there's generally 2 people who are leading the process, but we then have other staff from our other divisions, and because it's organized around 4 divisions. Community planning, which I lead, which is comprehensive planning, housing planning, land use planning, community engagement planning. We have an environmental planning division, a transportation planning division, and a brownfield planning division. We use the other staff as we need their expertise. So when we're working on the transportation aspects of your plan, anywhere from 2 to 3 of the transportation planning division come to those meetings because I can talk to you so far about transportation, but there's a point where you want that expert that I know, but I'm not. We're not looking outside for those people. They work in our organization. GIS is the same way. Data is the same way. Design is the same way. You see our staff out taking pictures of your community. But there are 2 main people. It's clear to the town who to contact. You get to know our faces. And we will often communicate with the rest of the organization on behalf of the town.
So we work closely with the planning and zoning throughout the process on different projects that are coming through as to how to guide the outcome.
So we don't, as MBCOG generally, should a community need that level of assistance, that's something that a request that could come from the mayor for a more in-depth involvement in the processes. For the plans of conservation and development, they have to be adopted by your planning and zoning commission, but the state and there's no easy way not to turn my back to anyone, so I'm sorry about that. The state enables a planning and zoning commission for the plan of conservation and development to create a steering committee. That's what Thomaston did. That's generally what we recommend because it's good to have planning and zoning pieces there. It's good to have someone from the legislative body because the plan of conservation and development has to come back to your board for a report at the end of the process. You can get broad voices in the room that way. So we work with the Planning and Zoning Commission as keeping them up to date with what's happening through their representative. But this process really does live kind of separate from the everyday application process. That's a lot of work in and of itself. And so whether you had your Planning and Zoning Commission work on this, we would recommend probably a separate meeting to get through these processes, or you'd be there till 11 o'clock at night trying to do both. And we want people mentally ready to go through our processes, not tired because we spent 2 hours in public hearing. Yeah, hope that answers your question.
Any other questions? Okay. So I guess the first thing that up to the council is, do we want to contract with the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments for 1, both, 0? And then if we were to do the plan of conservation development, do you want option A or option B? Those would be the questions, and I would send it out to the floor area.
I'll make a motion that we contract.
Can't hear you.
I make a motion that we contract with the Council of Governments for both plans In regards to the P O C D, I would go with option B, which includes the youth summit. For the particular reason that I would like our youth to be involved there. It's something that's different that hopefully by you going there, you can entice some of the youth to get into the field that you are, because as an engineer, we are short. So I hope it kind of promotes them to good depth. So that's my motion.
We'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'm with Joe. I think it's really important to get the youth in there. Because they're the ones that are gonna be here for the next 20, 40, 50 years. So we need their input to see where we're going.
Okay. All right, hearing no more discussion, we'll take a vote. Tony?
Oh, yes, aye.
Ron?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
TJ?
Yes.
And Ray?
No.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Savannah, and we'll be. Yes, and that motion passed 4-1. Item 13, discuss and take action on police commission's recommendations for an appropriation to replace total police vehicle. Now during public comment, there was a member of the public that did mention that, something over 50,000 would have to go to a town meeting. That does include this, but the, police commission, came up with a recommendation, due to a total police cruiser. They were not given any new vehicles in this year's budget, so they are short. So I invited the police to come and speak about where they are for vehicles, and I believe the chief is here and Sergeant Latimer, and they can kind of give us an overview on where they are, and then the council, we can decide if we would like to schedule a town meeting.
Evening. And June 19th, by an act of God during the storm,
Sorry, you might.
Can't hear you.
cruiser number 12,
It gets off.
how's that?
There.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cruiser number 12 on June 19th was parked in the parking lot and the tree came down, decimating it. It was totaled, so we're looking to replace it. As the mayor said, we did not get any cruisers this year. We usually get one, maybe possibly two. But this is a vehicle that was already in the budget because we have the vehicle. So I believe you have the list in front of you, the cost for the vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes, the email you sent, yes, they have that.
Yes. So we are looking to go with a Dodge Durango, which is $3,400 cheaper than the Ford Taurus SUVs we were getting. We're having a lot of problems with the Ford Tauruses, a lot of recalls. Right now, my vehicle's on a recall, the detective sergeant's is on a recall. We have one on the line that's on a recall. They're under warranty, but they're still on a recall, and they're out of service for months and months. So when one vehicle is down, obviously you have to use other vehicles. So that is a problem with the Fords. This is happening all over the country. Sergeant Lambert did some extensive research, and the Dodge Durangos are being used by Bristol, Cheshire, and they're having good luck and good service with them. And plus, they're $3,400 cheaper than what we would pay for an Atrus. There are no more sedans being made. This vehicle that we have, car 12, was a sedan, but in 2023, the departments, Chevy, Ford, all stopped making the sedans. All the police departments are now using SUVs, so we do have to go with an SUV for obvious reasons. It's roomier, you can put more equipment, the sedans are kind of tight, but they do not make them anymore. So looking at the amount here, it's $43,000 for the cost of the Durango itself. 12 fitted is approximately $22,000. The lettering on the side, which is a one-time cost. Now, these are guesses. We're trying to give the best guesses we can. Is $1,500 the modem, the MPT cabling accessory, $7,500. The setup of the cruiser, $2,000. The Axon camera system, dashboard camera system is no cost. Radio is no cost. That is being transferred from car 12 and would be into the new vehicle. Total cost $76,000. We're anticipating about 10,000 from the insurance company for the loss of the vehicle. And adding in a contingency, because these, like I said, these are just guesses, 7,600. The total cost would be 73,600. And then from, if we were to do this October 1st, which the vehicle will not be in for 90 days, it was a 90-day wait for the Dodge Durango. It would be 39.99. That's for the cellular service. So we would owe $359.91 for that. But this is just putting us back to where we were. We have 18 cruisers. We have a regular trailer and another trailer, which is not included, but if you come here during the day, during the week, the cruisers aren't here, they're out on road jobs. By using those vehicles, which the town does charge for those vehicles, when an officer is on a road job, they charge for that. That money is coming back into the town by using those vehicles, the older vehicles. This was a 2017 vehicle that was decimated, was crushed. And it had approximately 90,000 miles on it. And when we get the Durango, it'll go on the line, then another one of the older vehicles will be transferred. But they bring in, as you know, the officers, thousands and thousands of dollars into as revenue by working the road jobs and working extra duty, which is that help to the taxpayers, because all our cruisers for years have not been paid with any money from the taxpayers. And the town does charge for it. And it's obviously, the contractors want the vehicles for safety reasons, the lights, sirens, et cetera, to warrant oncoming vehicles. So that's what we're just looking, not to get anything above, nothing beyond, just to replace one that was decimated by an act of God when the tree came down. Do you have anything you want?
I know we've been having issues with the hybrids. Sergeant, if you could just kind of speak to that a little bit and why we're very strongly leaning towards going back to gas vehicles.
Okay, so currently there's 3 cars at the dealership, like the chief said, per car needs a new engine. We have 2 other cars down for an extensive period of time, close to probably 2 months now. We just got the captain's car back, which is brand new, had a recall that was down for about a month. And then the hybrids, just haven't had good luck with them idling and then to go out. So you go out there right now, I guarantee at least 3 cars have check engine lights on them. And it's not a dig at Public Works. It's just these things aren't working the way that we anticipated them. And it's not the cost savings that we anticipated when they first came out. So we switched gears and looking to go just to a regular conventional gas engine where Public Works could have a better reign on repairing them or preventive maintenance.
Any questions from the council?
Yeah, Mayor, can you explain, so it's whatever, 76,000?
73,600.
Each pay for that out of the extra duty, but it has to go.
You can, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bill, but because it's still an appropriation above 50,000, that would still require a town meeting. Yeah. If you don't mind, just so. Yeah.
So the charter does not speak to the source of the funds. The charter speaks to whether or not an additional appropriation is made to a department's budget. So regardless of how this is paid for, it's immaterial when it comes to the $50,000 limit in the process that the council has to follow.
So that would require a town meeting.
Yes.
Okay. And if the council chooses to do that, the process of scheduling, does the council have to set that date or does that just come through mayor's office?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, but I can certainly get you an answer.
Okay. Just want to make sure that.
The council decided they wanted to do that.
Yes, yeah, we have the chair of the police commission, Kathy Baskets, while the town attorney looks at this, that would like to say a few words. Thank you.
Yes. I am Kathy Baskets, and I'm chairman of the police commission. The police came to us and gave us all the information on the, what happened with the cruiser. And like the chief said, it was an accident. And this year, the finance board cut the 2. Every year they get 2 vehicles because of the high mileage and the years that they are. They also brought to us, as the chief said, that the vehicles they were using, the Fords, correct? Weren't giving them the they were more expensive and weren't giving them the life. And so they looked at something cheaper and tried to get that. So I'm just saying here, the police commission looked at everything and we recommend that you pass that. I'd also like to ask, in previous times, that money was taken from the account of the overtime, and it didn't have to go to.
You mean the extra duty?
The extra duty, I mean, and it didn't have to go to a town meeting. Can't that be done again?
No, so in the past, when vehicles have been replaced out of that, it's typically been done within the budget itself.
Okay.
So because that they didn't get any vehicles this year, there's no appropriation for it. So unfortunately, as the town attorney said, it's the appropriation in total is above 50,000, so would require a town meeting. So, yeah, so we have to do
Okay, I would
that.
just like.
We're just verifying the process of that, if the
Okay,
council did choose to do that.
Myself and the police commission would recommend that they get
Yeah.
the state approval. Thank you.
'Cause I would suggest if we do go, if the council does want to do this, just do it before our next council meeting in October. That would be my suggestion, but I wanna see the process if the council has to vote on that or not.
Yeah.
Or if it gets approved by the voters at the town meeting.
Yeah, quick question. Did we just look at the Durangos or we look at the Chevy Tahoes too, that the state and Bristol are talking over to? So I understand our promise with the Durangos.
So, I spoke to Terryville Chevy and Northwest Hills, so it was the, state bid for the Tahoes are about $5,500 to $6,500 more than what we have now. And, they're having big engine problems with the engine viscosity, just idle hours. I spoke to Cheshire, who have, the Durangos, spoke to Bristol, and they're saying they have no issues with them.
Just like the Fords now are, they're getting to the point with the problems we're having, they're dangerous. I had a recall of mine, it says that car will either lose power or the engine can catch fire. So the first time it happened, I was coming up the hill and I was lucky, it happened down in Thomaston by the Citgo gas station. I was able to pull in, I just got off the exit and totally lost power. So I pulled in there and then they sent it out. The same day I got it back when Ford said it was fixed. I'm driving home on 84 in the third lane and it happens again. Now I'm in the third lane. And I'm trying to okay, I gotta ease my way over. Now the vehicle's losing power. This is dangerous, having these vehicles. So we're trying a vehicle that has less problems. And then we're not gonna have all these recalls with the vehicle. So if that happens to an officer, same thing, it could happen. Losing power and he has to get somewhere. You're gonna be delayed getting there because the car is gonna break down. So that's what we're trying to get something that's cheaper for the town, but we're gonna have less problems. But like, sorry to say, the Tahoes are a lot more and they're having problems with engines too. And my car needs a whole new engine. They fixed it, tried to fix it the first time, at least they said they did, which they obviously did now. It needs a whole new engine. It's under warranty, but again, this is dangerous. As you know, I was already in one accident by an 18-wheeler. This time, if I didn't get over, they probably would just run over me. So. Thank you.
And just one other question on the lettering. Is there a way we can somewhat get more visible lettering? I know we run the ghost lettering, but something just like to identify the town of Plymouth on it? That's not the ghost lettering when we do the outfitting?
So with, the cost for the lettering on there, you have to pay a design fee for them to change it, but with it going to Durango, you gotta pay that anyway, so we could definitely explore different options.
Wait, sorry, Tony, go ahead.
I'm sorry, there seems to be well over $10,000 in guessing. Can't get a more accurate price on what it is?
The insurance, you're talking about what would the reimbursement? Yeah, so that's,
No, the 7,500, which was, I guess, 1,500, 2,000 for cruiser equipment.
That's what they're telling us right now. When we check the prices, that could change those.
Yeah.
And we went in at the height, and I guess Again, if it's 73,600 and we don't use all that money, that will go right back to the town.
I would say
Yeah,
Guess was probably not the best verbiage there. It should have said estimate. Guess. So they did get an estimate. That's what the,
And
That's what it should-
they called it a guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is an estimate.
Yeah.
And whatever we don't use, if we're on the high end and we're over and we get more money, it'll go right back to town.
Oh, it's not here, after 50 years in the automotive business, I can guarantee you that's the minimum price.
But it doesn't say.
I mean, I don't know that it would hurt to have the council just do it.
No, and it's
So-
silent, the charter's
Yep.
silent. on it.
Okay,
So
So-
with regard to the lettering,
Yep.
that's one thing I was always
Oh.
thought about.
sure.
So we have the black cruisers. If we do orange lettering, that's the color of my high school. So.
That'd be a good idea for the SRO vehicle.
Okay, so, I guess the next move would be on the council if we would like to schedule a town meeting. My suggestion would be just do it before our regular October meeting, which is scheduled currently for October 7th. And say 6 o'clock, and police can be there, make their proposal, and then the voters that show up could vote on it. That would be my suggestion, but again,
I'll make a motion that we have a town meeting, set prior to our next council meeting at 6 o'clock. For the appropriation to replace the older police vehicle.
motion by Joe, second by Tony. Any further discussion? Okay, Tony,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
TJ, and Randy? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Item 14, liaison reports. We can start over here with Randy. You'd like to? Okay. TJ?
I went to Public Works. There's a list of things that were going on there. Carl's working on the phone system in the town hall. How it's antiquated and figure out the lines and who owns what and whatnot. So there's potential for some savings there. The library has 2 new charging stations for EV vehicles in the upper parking lot that were installed. Carl worked on getting a grant on that, and those are installed finally. There's a couple trucks, there's a 10-wheeler that came in, and there's 1 truck that's down. So they're evaluating that. And the material that they sell out of the pit right now is currently $2 a yard to sell. They're looking to increase that to $5 a yard. So there'll be more to come hopefully for next meeting on that one.
Okay.
WPCA, they're still working on all of their studies, and they're getting deeper down and getting onto some properties and looking at some stuff there now. So there'll be more next month.
Okay, thank you, TJ. Joe? Ron? And Tony?
One meeting that they had was the Wetlands Commission. They did have a public hearing on Douglas County Avenue. All the presentations were made, and they're going to be voting on it their next meeting, which they're trying to schedule. They had 3 other applications. That the applications were accepted. That's it.
Thank you. Would you like to kick off comments? Do you have any additional council comments?
No.
Rob? Joe?
I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's hearing.
TJ?
I think tonight was very informative with the Route 6 project, and I think it's gonna bring a lot of life to downtown.
And Randy?
No doubt.
Okay, motion to adjourn? Motion by Joe, second by Ron. All those in favor? All right, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.